When the war started, we saw we had been strategizing for quite some time before it started, and so we were able to immediately get humanitarian aid distributed to the churches. Roughly, they represent, as you mentioned, over 2,000 churches, into the hands of the churches so that they could begin their ministry to minister to internally displaced people throughout their country, particularly those individuals who are trying to make their way out of the country into Eastern Europe, but also generators and other things that they needed as a result of what is happening over there. And so I can talk about that, but I want Igor to be able to share from his standpoint, because he's the person who is on the ground, and he's the one that has to wake up in the middle of the night and hear the drones flying over his house.
Well, we are going to shift the microphone now to Pastor Igor Bandura. He is with the Ukrainian Baptist Union. He is one of the pastoral staff members for a church in Ukraine, and we're going to be talking about that. This is the Meeting House here on Faith Radio Meeting House, Media Central at the National Religious Broadcasters 23 Convention in Orlando, Florida. So, Pastor Igor, it is great to have the opportunity to talk with you. Let's just share a bit about the effect of the war, the Russian invasion of your country on you and your ministry. Take us back to that time where the invasion began. How is it that it affected your church?
First of all, let me share my gratitude, not only my personal gratitude, but gratitude of many Christians in Ukraine for ongoing prayers of millions of Christians all around the world and your country. So it is a great, great blessing. And for us, spiritual dimension of this war as important as a military one. Yes, it is more than 452 days of the war, and I would like just to share with you a recent tragic story of one Baptist church in the occupied part of Zaporizhia. It is a church in Orikhovo. Just 1 week ago, it was partially destroyed by Russian bomb. But then, yesterday, the Russians used phosphor bombs and the church was burned out completely. That was the church where Christians met and collected humanitarian aid to help people and to share the gospel with people. So now they lost everything. So this is one of the 52 destroyed churches during the war, Baptist churches. But if we go back to the beginning of the war, that was, in a sense, expected. But as Christians, we prayed and hoped that God would protect us from the war. But the war started. God was faithful, and during all the struggles and sufferings, He blessed His local churches that faithfully ministered to people and became refugee places for internally displaced people, from refugees, for ministering to widows with children, because many men are killed at the front line, ministering to men who are coming back from the front, just trying to help people as much as possible. No one believed Ukraine would survive, and it's really a miracle that God was on our side, because when millions of people flooded all our roads trying to escape from the country and save their life, Baptist churches were there on the way to accommodating people, providing bed and breakfast, providing spiritual support, encouraging people. And since then, all our churches across the Ukraine, especially in the west of Ukraine, became refuge centers. And we know the pain, but we know also the blessing. We know what evil power can do through the foreign army, but we also know what God can do with His power. Russia would like to destroy Ukraine. Russia genocide Ukrainian people, but God is protecting us. And despite all the loss, we see how God is working real miracles. He is working through church, through Christians, through their very simple daily acts of love and support, but He also intervened on our behalf with great miracles.